Welcome back. Many busy parents who prioritize healthy eating often grapple with the choice of packing a lunch or relying on their child's school cafeteria. Consumer Reports offers valuable tips for parents dedicated to providing the healthiest lunch options. Amy Keating, a registered dietitian for Consumer Reports, joins us to explain why maintaining a healthy balance between packed lunches and cafeteria food could work best. Amy, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Now, this I would say is probably one of my favorite things to talk about because I'm always on the hunt to, be healthier and eat right. So, with that being said, people often find eating healthy to be a challenge. What are some healthy and easy options for parents who are packing lunches, for their kids?
Well, I think the first thing to keep in mind is one of my favorite topics too, is that getting your kids involved in this process is going to set you up for a lot more success than if you're doing it totally on your own. And it doesn't have to be complicated. I mean, you need a little bit of preparation, which you can do early in the week, and talk to your kids about preferences. Take your kids grocery shopping, get them involved. It's a skill, that'll be their introduction to food preparation. So it's a great skill to have. And basically, you just want to make sure you hit on the major food groups. So you want to make sure you're choosing some vegetable, fruit, whole grain, a protein source. And there's plenty of options. Again, and the driver should be what your child prefers. But with vegetables, it can be as easy as cutting up vegetables on a Sunday for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday's lunches. It could be a thermos of vegetable soup. Some kids really like, some, interest and excitement to their lunch. So that could work. For fruit, I'd pick something handheld or like a handful of grapes, a slice of oranges, sometimes like a whole orange or a whole apple to try to finish that while you're watching children line up for recess. I mean, it can be pretty daunting for a child. And sometimes that's when the apple comes home half eaten or the orange is thrown away. So you want to think about the amount of time your children have, making it interesting, making it exciting. For your protein sources, try less reliance on packaged processed meats and think about maybe some leftover chicken that you have the night before that would really work well in a wrap, or maybe even mixed with some whole grains in a bento box. So there's lots of different options that you can do with protein beyond packaged processed meat. You can do hummus, eggs, even Greek yogurt counts as a protein. So again, the driver should be the preference, and it should be fun and engaging with your child.
I think that's pretty amazing. Now, I could speak for myself, but I'm sure there's a lot of kids who relate to this. What can you do if you have picky eaters who may struggle with, maybe eating their vegetables, or maybe they don't want to eat fruit and they're kind of leaning more towards chips or things like that?
You cut out, but I think I got most of the question. I mean, it's just basically, not wanting to eat the vegetables. Sometimes pairing a vegetable with a food they like peanut butter, taking even, apple slices or celery and pairing them together in a combination. Uh, what's worked with my children is seeing what their friends like, saying, "Hey, are you curious? Johnny's eating broccoli. You've never tried it. He's one of your best friends. It's one of his favorite vegetables." So sometimes seeing what's going on in the cafeteria and asking them, "Hey, are you curious about anything? Oh, well, maybe I'm afraid to try it." But just being patient and understanding that it is going to be a process. Um, but you know, letting them try things, and if they don't like it, you've got to just accept that and you know hold the line.
Now, what role does teaching children about making healthy food choices play in their overall development?
Well, I mean, so much in terms of just learning readiness and really like their quality of life. They want to be playing sports. They want to be, have active lives. So in general, just food is health. And when you think about setting yourself up in terms of your uh, dietary preferences, your healthy eating, and all that can lead to in terms of health later on. I mean, we do know that, like, we parents so closely and even students so closely look at their grades and if they made the team. But there are also ways to look at your diet, and for years we've been calculating the healthy eating index and looking at the diets of Americans. And younger kids, 2 to 4, on a scale of 0 to 100 on this healthy eating scale, are about 60, 65. When they get into elementary school, high school, those numbers drop to about 50, and they're lacking in things like fruits, vegetables, whole grains. They're kind of, making choices that are just much more convenient, or eating too much, highly processed foods, sugar sweetened beverages. So, really, I mean, I would argue that as we get ready for the school year, arithmetic, spelling, PE, athletics, and healthy eating, it is a priority, and it is a huge learning opportunity. And it's going to, set people up for just such a better quality of life.
Now, because you talked about convenience and juices and all of these things, that leads into my next question about lunch kits like Lunchables. Now, I know when I was a kid, I loved Lunchables. I know a lot of kids love that now, but can you tell me a little bit more about kits like Lunchables? Are they actually healthy or not? And I understand that Consumer Reports actually tested or did some research on that. So can you tell us what you found?
Yeah, I mean, we looked into Lunchables last year because we were surprised that Kraft tweaked the Lunchables just enough so that they would qualify to fit into a National School Lunch Program menu. And we feel they're not the healthiest choice, and you can read all about it on consumerreports.org. But basically, I mean, these kits are a big opportunity for the food industry to get themselves into the National School Lunch Program or into the hands of kids in their sack lunches. But really, they're heavily processed. A lot of them revolve around packaged processed meats, which we know from a lot of observational studies increases your risk for cardiovascular disease, cancer. Um, they're just, they're highly processed. They have the trifecta of high sodium foods with crackers, cheese, processed meat. And we took a closer look at them and found that Lunchables and other similar lunch kits have high amounts of sodium, probably about 500 to 900 milligrams per package. For a small amount of food, it's only about 2 to 4 ounces. And that could be up to about half of your daily limit that a child should have for sodium. And it's not a lot of food. We also, my colleagues in the food safety area, also are monitoring lots of processed packaged foods and even natural foods for heavy metals, things like lead and cadmium, which are natural elements of the earth's crust, but also can make it into these products through processing. And we did find levels of contaminants in these packaged lunch kits that were somewhat concerning. There aren't national federal standards for um, things like lead, but we did look at the California standards and their maximum allowable dose per day, and we found that some of them were up to about 50% when you consider a child's diet. When you consider that a child is relatively smaller in stature, so when you consume things, your body is going to take a little bit bigger of a hit for that, and also that heavy metals are, it's over time, it's cumulative. So less is definitely more. So we did see a little bit of that, and it's really, the sodium is really problematic as well, and just that it's not really setting people up for and children up for eating and making choices that are whole healthy foods. And eating whole healthy foods um, doesn't have to be complicated. I mean, if you have a knife and a cutting board, you can do wonders with real produce and real, proteins that you find in the grocery store.
With that being said, what should parents do when they do get to that supermarket and they are tempted to kind of grab the most convenient thing, or maybe they don't know how to read nutrition labels or they struggle with that? What are some tips you would give a parent who's, just needs that extra boost or that extra help when navigating a supermarket?
Yeah, well, you were mentioning juice and packaged foods, and there are a lot of them. First of all, just from a budget standpoint, I mean, buying a lot of prepackaged single serve items generally are going to come along, are going to be more highly processed and potentially have more sodium and added sugars. So when you can prep some of that food yourself, you'll save some money, and you'll probably be better off in terms of sodium and added sugars. And then when you're looking at labels, I mean, it is very confusing. It's a landmine. we have lots of information on our website. I really would encourage parents to look for our information on how to read food labels. But just in terms of juice, juice alone, when you see the packages, the front of package of juice or any foods is really could potentially lead you down the wrong path. You'll see juice products, they'll have big, colorful pieces of fruit on the front of the juice package. That doesn't necessarily reflect what's in the product. That could just be the imagery used for the natural or artificial flavor that's added. So don't look at the images of the fruit to determine. By law, all juice and juice drinks have to list the percent juice that's in the container. So you want to look for 100% juice. And if you see a juice drink or juice cocktail, that should tip you off that you may be getting less juice and you're probably getting more added sugars. And added sugars in sugar sweetened beverages is one of the top sources for kids. So if you look on the label, you'll see, wow, this product that I thought was so healthy and it's bright orange and it's got oranges and grapefruits on the front. It only has 5% juice when I just turn that package sideways. So you have to take a look at, again, the nutrition facts panel. And, you don't need a science degree to look at it. You really want to focus in on comparing two products with the nutrition facts panel, and probably at this point, really focusing in on the problematic nutrients like added sugar, sodium, comparing two products, seeing what the difference is in those. Also looking for some nutrients. We don't always want to be avoiding. We want to be thinking about adding positive things to our diet. So looking at things like the percent daily value for the vitamins and minerals that are listed. The vitamins and minerals that are listed on the nutrition facts panel are the ones that Americans need more of. They can't fit them all. There are
Right.
dozens of vitamins and minerals, but they put 4 on there because those are the ones you want. So the higher they are, the better the choice is, or dietary fiber. And then again, with ingredients, scan the ingredient list. If it's, a bunch of chemicals and things that you don't have in your cupboard and that you are not familiar with, you want to be looking for something that more resembles what you could make yourself.
Well, Amy, I want to thank you so much for joining us and really having this informative discussion. I know I'm going to be helped by this already, so thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you so much for having us.
You can learn more tips about packing a healthy lunch by reading Amy's article and the Consumer Reports website, which is on your screen below. Stay tuned, we have more for you right after this.